So Metaversal came together when two friends, uh,
It's not again. Just
Dan Schmieren.
introduce yourself and then go
All
Metaversal.
right, so great question. I'm Keone, and I'm here with Metaversal. Um, in answer to your question, like how did we get here? Metaversal's North Star happened when two friends met. So Dan Schmieren, who's our CFO, and Yossi Hassan, who's our CEO. Yossi comes from a software background, Dan from a finance background, and excuse me. So Dan has a fascination with art and capturing the value of culture. Yossi was fascinated behind blockchain and decentralized technology and permissionless systems. And so when they both got together and started having this conversation around how are you going to capture the future of value, digital currency, brand value, all of these things that are now transitioning into this ethereal metaversal space, like how are we going to have some of the foundations or theories to be able to appropriately value and invest and own these things, but also how can we sort of expand the creativity around that, and how can we inspire brands to create owners in this new space, in the metaverse, so to speak. So my role at Metaversal is between community, culture, and product. So I'm doing research, I'm supporting and helping build community initiatives, but I'm also out in the space taking my experience of building products and launching culture in LA, and being online since 93, and kind of taking all those insights and my experiences, and trying to come up with a thesis behind what is culture in this space, why do communities come together, what is the meaning of brand in this space, all these small interstitial ethereal questions that we have yet to answer because the space is still so early and nascent.
So when you speak to brands that haven't yet entered the metaverse and are still playing with ideas about how to expand their consumer base and engage the consumer base, how do you address those newcomers to the market in terms of opening up their mind to understanding the space a bit more? Mostly when I'm referring to brands.
Well, I think it's important to kind of understand where we are in history. We are transitioning from the industrial age into the information age, right? And our consumers are making that transition as well. The individual sovereign, right? This was written in 1997. It is quite literally depicting all of the trends that we're seeing in Gen Alpha and in Gen Z around relationships, their relationships to products and services, which we are starting to learn have become more and more a cultural identity than a decision of utility. So when we are looking at what does this mean for the future of brands, brands have to understand that we've moved past unilateral communication, we've moved past bilateral communication, which is social media, and now we have this thing that we don't even know what it is yet, but it's necessary, and you have to be in the place, or else somebody else is going to replace you. So I think in my eyes, it's about giving them the freedom to play, right? Like, there are no experts in this space, they're only experimentalists. We are so early in the space, so to expect that someone can step in and say, all right, here's how you're gonna build the next Bored Ape. I mean, look at their last drop in Hong Kong. That was a shit show, pardon my French. And I love the premise of what Bored Ape provides, but also like the limitations in community, right? Like if you look at some of the biggest communities in the space, they're so insular. What does that mean for brands that are huge, that have billions of users across the world? Like these are all questions that we need to experiment and find the answers to. And I believe at Metaversal, we're sort of experimenting in that place.
So what's one of the coolest founding companies that you backed, and why? Quickly, short and sweet.
Good question. I can tell you what my favorite is, and it is Control. So Control is a cultural brand built on Bitcoin, leveraging new innovation and technology behind being able to recover rare sats and embed, now NFT data into them. And you've quite literally taken what was considered old infrastructure and remix it into something new. And I think that's the most exciting thing about Web3 because everything is a remix. It's all about remixing culture and technology together to find new use cases.